Your boss just said something in that meeting that was completely wrong. You know it. Your colleagues know it. Even the intern knows it. But everybody just nodded. And you sat there, angry, silent, swallowing your words, because the last time somebody disagreed with the boss, it didn't end well. Here's what this video is going to give you. 5 practical tactics, not theory, not motivation, actual things you can say and do this week when you disagree with your boss. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud in African corporate culture: your boss is not always right. Sometimes they are wrong. Sometimes they are dangerously wrong. And if you can't find a way to push back without burning the bridge, you'll either become a yes man who gets ignored, or a rebel who gets sidelined. Both lose. I'm going to show you the third option, the one that actually gets you respected. But first, let me tell you about Fred. Fred was one of the hardest workers in our organization. Brilliant guy. The kind of person who could look at a problem everyone else was panicking about and solve it before lunch. But Fred had one problem. He could not stand his boss. Not personally, professionally. Every time the boss came up with a strategy, Fred would push back. Openly. In front of everyone. Not disrespectfully, but directly. Fred believed the best idea should win, and if the boss's idea was weak, he'd say so. Now in some workplaces, that's called healthy debate. But in our organization, like most African offices, it was called something else. Insubordination. The boss didn't fire Fred. That would have been too obvious. Fred was too good to fire. Instead, something worse happened. Fred became invisible. When big meetings happened, the ones with the directors, the ones where names get mentioned and careers get built, Fred's name was never in the room. His boss never brought him up. Never recommended him. Never put him forward for anything. For almost 5 years. Fred did more work than almost anyone in that organization. But his boss controlled the narrative. And the narrative didn't include Fred. Fred is still there today. He hates it. He's surviving, but he's not thriving. And the worst part: he still doesn't fully understand what went wrong. He won the argument. He lost the war. Fred wasn't wrong for disagreeing. He was wrong for how he disagreed. And that's what I'm going to teach you today, because there is a way to push back, challenge bad ideas, and protect your career at the same time. Tactic number 1. Disagree in private. Align in public. This is the golden rule. The non-negotiable. If you disagree with your boss on something important, do not do it in a meeting with other people watching. I don't care how wrong they are. I don't care how obvious it is. The moment you challenge your boss in public, you're no longer disagreeing with an idea. You're threatening their authority. And in African corporate culture, where hierarchy and respect carry real weight, that's a fight you will not win. Instead, after the meeting, walk into their office. Or send a message. Say something like, "Hey boss, I was thinking about what you shared in the meeting. I had a slightly different angle, can I run it by you for 10 minutes? That's it. No drama. No audience. No ego on the line. When you disagree in private, your boss hears an ally offering a different perspective. When you disagree in public, they hear an enemy undermining them. Same words. Completely different outcome. Fred did it in public. Every single time. That's why the door closed on him. Tactic number 2. Say yes and never yes, but. This is the single most powerful phrase shift in corporate survival. When your boss says something you disagree with, your instinct is to say, yes, but I think we should do it differently. The word but erases everything before it. Your boss hears, you're wrong. Instead, use yes and. Instead of saying, that's a good idea, but I think we should target a different market. Say, that's a solid direction, and what if we also tested a second market to compare results? You're not fighting their idea. You're building on it. You're adding to it. You're making it bigger. The magic is, your boss feels like you're on their team, while you're actually steering the ship in a completely different direction. This is exactly what I do with my own boss. I'm going to be honest with you, I argue with my boss. A lot. We disagree on strategy, on priorities, on timelines, on everything. But here's what I learned early, I never reject his idea. I reshape it. When my boss brings an idea to the table, I listen, really listen, and I find the part of it that actually makes sense. Because there's almost always something there. Then I take that piece, blend it with what I think will work better, and present it back as one harmonized solution. Not his idea. Not my idea. Our solution. And here's what happened over time, my boss started trusting me. Not because I always agreed with him, but because every time I pushed back, the result was something better than what either of us had alone. We are actually great friends now. Compare that to Fred. Fred said, your idea is wrong, here's mine. I say, your idea has legs, and here's how we make it run faster. Same disagreement. Completely different delivery. Completely different career outcome. Tactic number 3. Attack the problem, not the person. Never say, I don't think your approach will work. Always say, I want to make sure we hit the target. What if we also consider this angle? The moment you use you and your, it becomes personal. Your boss stops hearing the idea and starts defending themselves. But when you use we and our, suddenly you're both on the same side of the table, looking at the problem together. Instead of saying, your timeline is unrealistic. Say, I want us to hit this deadline. If we adjust the scope slightly, I think we can deliver something even stronger on time. Same feedback. One creates a fight. The other creates a conversation. Tactic number 4. Bring data, not emotions. If you're going to disagree, come with evidence. Don't say, I feel like this won't work. Say, I looked at last quarter's numbers, and when we tried a similar approach, the results were X. What if we adjusted based on that? Feelings get dismissed. Data gets discussed. Your boss can argue with your opinion all day. They cannot argue with their own company's numbers. Tactic number 5. Pick your battles. Not every hill is worth dying on. Fred disagreed with everything. Every meeting. Every decision. After a while, his boss stopped hearing the content, he just heard noise. If you push back on everything, your boss tunes you out. But if you only speak up when it truly matters, when the stakes are real, your words carry 10 times the weight. Disagree on 20%. Align on 80%. Save your pushback for the moments that actually matter. The strategy decisions. The client-facing moves. The ones where staying silent would genuinely hurt the organization. Everything else. Let it go. Conserve your influence for when it counts. Let's run it back. The 5 tactics. 1. Disagree in private, align in public. Never embarrass your boss in front of others. 2. Say yes, and not yes, but. Build on their idea instead of killing it. 3. Attack the problem, not the person. Use we, not you. 4. Bring data, not emotions. Facts get discussed, feelings get dismissed. 5. Pick your battles. Push back on 20%, align on 80%. Fred was brilliant. Fred was hardworking. Fred was right most of the time. But Fred is still sitting in the same seat 5 years later, because he won arguments and lost relationships. Don't be Fred. Be the person who disagrees so skillfully that your boss actually thanks you for it. Drop a comment, Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to disagree but stayed quiet? What happened? I read every single comment. If this was useful, subscribe, because every Wednesday I'm dropping tactical videos exactly like this. No fluff. Just real strategies for African professionals navigating corporate life. And if you missed Monday's video on why smart, hardworking Africans get overlooked for promotion, go watch it right after this. It connects directly to what we talked about today. Link is in the description.